very
Yeah,
smart.
me and Vic.
On what topic?
Yeah, Vic.
Physicalism.
Me, Vic, and Jack. Yeah, me, Vic,
Yuri,
and Jack
you're
have talked
fucked,
about
dude.
this. No, I'm not. No, I'm
Yeah,
not.
you are.
Vic has broke it down.
You could
JC.
talk to Jack for years and you'd still be fine. But go ahead. I wish you the best of luck. And I do think you're intelligent, and I've actually seen. I've actually been. I've been proud of you.
Yuri is kind of clever sometimes. I gotta give him that.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck.
Yuri's got a fuckload of potential, and he's smarter than most people, and
He
moves
trolls
fast.
cleverly.
He learns fast.
JC, I really don't want to debate, though. I just wanted to talk about it. Is it okay if we just talk? Because I want to bring up the rule following argument.
Oh,
Yuri, JC knows all this stuff already.
Look, bro.
He's not going
Like-
to take a staunch anti-physicalist. I mean, he's not going to take a
No, but
physicalist.
I want to hear Yuri do the rule following argument. Let's
Like-
hear him.
Like,
No, he knows it.
It's gonna be like
No, he
the
know- I've
role
actually-
following what?
I've gone over it with him before. He does know it.
I know
The what?
We should do it anyways. It'll be great.
I'm only going to
What,
do
what
it
do you
if
mean
JC is willing to
quadition?
talk.
That is madness.
I'm only going to do it if JC wants to talk about it.
Shamos and I want to hear it. So, JC, will you please?
Alright, I switched headsets. What's up?
Please, Daddy.
Please.
Yeah, can we talk about...
Just this
Can we
one
talk
time.
about physical... Shamo.
Yeah, just stop
JC,
asking
can
me
we
if we can
about
talk and just ask me a question.
Yeah, so are you familiar with the rule following argument?
I am, but let's pretend I don't, and why don't you run it past me?
Well, I'm going to use the bluefish blowfish one. So basically, imagine you have this robot, right? And this robot was programmed to pick up bluefish, right? And then when it picked up a blowfish, it threw it back into the water. But the robot does this successfully, right? And it collects all the bluefish, right? And as it takes all the bluefish and brings it home, it runs into a tree. And when it runs into this tree, the robot's programming gets malfunctioned. And so it drops all the bluefish and then starts going to go collect blowfish. So the question is basically, in virtue of what, or what physical property could we point to say that this robot is broken and not doing what it's supposed to do?
So your argument is actually just a question?
No, it's a hypothetical. It's a hypothetical argument.
Yuri, you
Well,
didn't even get
it
his position
ended-
first.
It ended with an intonation at the end where your voice went up like this, where I would have put a question mark. So is your argument against physicalism from the rule following argument, is it actually just a question?
Sure.
Okay, so what is the question? In virtue of what
No, I
can
said what?
can there be functions in a physicalist system?
No, I said what? No, I said what physical property could one point to say that the robot is not working?
What? Look, it doesn't actually have to be a physical property, as in like, here's a function of a physical set of things. So here's how I think. I'm just going to skip to the end, right? Because I understand this argument very well. Okay. Something is performing some function just in case, for a large enough number of cases, it gives the agreed upon result that we want it to have. That's it, right? How do you think a physical computer implements some function? Yuri.
So you're asking basically, how do I know if the computer is exhibiting some sort of function?
Correct. How do you know if a physical computational system is performing some function?
If it acts it out, right? If it acts
There
out
you go.
that particular.
Yeah. So apply that to whatever robot you want, right? That's how I know. That's how I know it's performing some function.
Isn't that just begging the?
No. Because I said, according to an acceptable range, right? I don't think that my physical desktop computer can perform an indefinite number of mathematical tasks, like plus, okay? My physical computer is a computer. It computes, it performs functions. At some point it breaks down. There's going to be some level of like mathematical intensity that it's not going to be able to handle and it's going to break down. Doesn't really mean that it's not a computer. It's not performing some additive function, right?
Right.
It just means that for tasks that I need it to, it performs it gives me the results that I like. That's it.
Right, but I'm confused on how that answers my question about a physical property that we could point. 'Cause
Well,
the
did
whole
I
point
just
of the
point
argument,
out?
right,
Did
I'm
I just
sure-
point out any supernatural properties, or did I point out physical properties?
Did you point out physical? I didn't hear any physical property.
Is there something about my desktop computer that has like spirits around it?
I didn't say anything about spirits because spirits imply some sort of disembodied mind. I think.
Which would be ridiculous, right?
Yeah, well, since disembodied minds can't exist.
So, did I say anything about my physical computer that's problematic?
No, but I don't see how it answered my question though.
Okay, so if you say, in virtue of what is a physical system performing some function, right? And I tell you, as long as it gives the result that we desire
the question I
along
asked.
some range.
That wasn't the question I asked.
I know, I'm just skipping to the heart of the rule following argument, and I'm skipping your goofball fish example.
Right, but I want to answer to my question.
Alright, go ahead and ask it again.
I'm asking basically what I'm asking is what physical property could we point to say that that robot is not.
Is what?
I'm saying what physical property could we point to show that that robot is not working?
Look, if my desktop computer isn't working, right? All I'm saying is that I had certain expectations that weren't met. I don't really care which physical property that ends up being, right? Maybe the physical property is a brain state of frustration.
Wait, now I'm confused now because now you're invoking brain states, right? If we were to invoke brain states, so let's say if we were to invoke a brain state, right? Basically, in virtue of what does the hypothesis generate for prediction that we would possibly see? I guess how we would possibly see it as opposed to another brain state, because now you're just bringing up brain state.
Look, you're asking me to point to a particular physical property by which a certain physical system follows a set of rules or doesn't follow a set of rules, right? And I'm demystifying it. There's nothing super special about it. We have expectations for a physical system, and if it breaks it, then and it's in some certain range of expectation. So if my computer, if I type in 2 + 2 and it spits out 5, that's unacceptable. If I put in what's 5 Googleplex squared and my computer crashes, it doesn't really bother me.
Well, that's just begging the question, right?
What
Because
question?
you're doing is you're just doing basically what you're doing is just correlating intention with that particular brain state. That's
Yeah.
just begging.
Why is that begging the question? I'm saying that's what constitutes physical computation.
Right. Wait, maybe I'm.
No, you
confused.
can't say right. You can't say right because you're saying I agree with you.
Listen. So, basically, what I'm trying to say is that. Now you're gonna do my thought.
Here, why don't we do this, Yuri? Let's write it down with premises and a conclusion, and then it'll be much easier for you to track.
Right. Okay. You can post it. Like, but I'm.
Well, you want me to post your argument for you?
Oh, I thought you said you had an argument.
No.
No, but what? No, I'm so confused now because basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to understand how we could basically say that all things are irreducible to some sort of physical property, right? And I basically asked you a question onto what physical
Physicalism
property.
physicalism does not entail that everything is reducible, right? There might be reducible physical properties. Right? I'm not even
so you're saying-
convinced that functions might be abstract objects for all I care.
Oh, so you're really okay. So this conversation is what?
Why? Because I think like math might be abstract.
Yeah, we're good then. I guess we can move the conversation
Wait.
to qualia.
Wait, so do you think that as long as I hold that mathematics are abstract objects, I get out of the rule following argument and the mind could be totally physical? Is that your position?
Well, yeah, I believe the mind is physical, right? But I believe that
No,
a certain immaterial...
wholly physical. Wholly
Oh, so,
physical.
so what about thoughts?
What about thoughts?
Are thoughts physical?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. So this is why I'm asking for the physical property.
What, do you
But
think
all
they're
you found is
spiritual?
The question.
What-
I don't think they're
what question
spiritual.
did I
I
beg?
just think no, I just think they're immaterial. I don't see how immaterial assumes spiritual or whatever.
That's okay. Are they located in space and time?
No, I don't think they have some sort of spatial relation.
Okay, that sounds pretty spiritual to me. So you're infested with all
Well,
these
you're-
spirits. Let's just pick one of these spiritual states. Do you
Why
believe
are we
that
calling it
beliefs?
spiritual?
Do you believe beliefs are spiritual or they're physical?
I believe
They're what?
I believe they're products of the physical.
What? You're telling me where they came from. I'm not asking where they came from. I'm asking what they are.
I believe they're immaterial property.
Okay, so your ghost-like belief, when you, let's say that you believe that there's food at the store and you desire to satiate your hunger. Does your belief and your desire pair together to cause you to go to the store? Does your belief that there's food at the store help explain why you went to the store?
Well, I'm an agent, right? And so because I'm an agent, it's logical.
Hold on, I'm not
to fail.
interested if you're an, I'm not interested in if you're an agent. I'm interested in if you do things because you believe things.
I do things because I have desires.
So beliefs play no explanatory role.
But beliefs are just external property.
What? They're not mental?
No, I believe in order for us to have beliefs, we have to have some sort of abstraction or necessary norm that we have to appeal to.
Yeah, but I'm not asking. Look, I'm just asking: are beliefs physical brain states, or are beliefs spiritual goofball states? Which one is it?
I believe they're immaterial.
I think he's.
I said I believe they're immaterial.
Okay, so do you ever do things because you believe something? So, do you ever scratch your leg because you believe that your leg is itchy?
Shout out to Vic, who's coaching Yuri from PMs.
Vic's not even in voice chat. And so,
Obvious. We're having.
I said
a
from
little
PMs,
bad-
bro.
Look, do you do things because you believe things? Do you scratch your leg because you believe your leg itches? Look, I can ask anybody else in the room and they're going to give the obvious answer. Which is yes. Beliefs play an explanatory role in human behavior. If I
Yeah,
believe
yeah,
that there's
even you
food at the
accept this.
store, that explains why I went to the store to get food. You don't have to try to, like, 3 steps ahead chess movie. Just move me. Just give me the right answer that you believe to be true. Beliefs factor into physical explanations in the world. Now, I'm going to ask you, these immaterial beliefs that aren't located in space and time, they're physically moving your body around, right? Do you realize what you believe in? You actually believe that there's a ghost realm that breaks all the known laws of physics to manipulate your body to get you to the grocery store.
I don't know what it means for there to be a ghost realm.
Yeah, neither fucking do I.
Why are you saying it's just dishonest to say that I believe in a ghost?
No, you're right. Look, saying something like you take it as being integral to being an
And by
agent,
the
that
way,
you
I'm
have
not getting
beliefs and
coached by
desires.
DM.
That you have beliefs and desires, right? That are non-physical, that are causally impinging on your physical actions, right? So he's just using like the term ghost realm to refer to the beliefs, desires, and other intentions causally impinged on your physical actions. And since I know you
Right.
just regurgitate the group's views, that is what you believe.
Right, yeah, I'm an externalist, so yeah, of course I believe that.
And I know
You're
you're
not.
that.
What
He is that,
is
because Vic is that.
an externalism about what?
Mental content. He's using the word appropriately.
Well, I'm not talking about where the content of a belief comes from. I'm asking the causal efficacy of beliefs. I don't care where the content comes from, right? It could be implanted there by some other ghost from the goofball realm, for all I care.
This is just dishonest. I didn't think we were going to have this dishonest conversation.
Look, all I want to know is, do you believe that your beliefs reside in an immaterial realm, but constantly break the laws of physics in order to move physical bodies around?
I don't know.
Okay, so you're not sure what you believe.
I just know that they're necessary.
All right, we can move on. We can move on.
So
That,
Yuri,
we'll just say that's a hole in your understanding of the mind. So, do you want to? So the rule following argument, right, is supposed to be an issue for physicalism, and it kind of is, right? But it's also kind of an issue for everyone. The rule following argument states that any observed behavior of a system underdetermines epistemologically which rule it might be instantiating. So for any observable behavior, right, it underdetermines which rule it's supposed to be implementing, right? Just categorically. Now, I'm actually just going to pause for a moment here and say, you understand that if you take this argument very, very seriously, which I take it seriously, but if you take it to be a defeater of physicalism, then you must hold that the underdetermination problem in, say, philosophy of science means that induction is logically impossible or something. Do you think induction is logically impossible?
teetering. I'm teetering on that. I don't know for sure. Like, I don't know.
Oh,
To be honest, I don't go into that part.
know about structuralism? I think what you're explaining there, and I think it was Guard that held that, which is that the one doing the signifying has privileged signifier itself. That, like, the presence, like, of the agent that's saying it has privilege.
Yeah, but so look, the view that meaning is what somebody intends, I'm actually okay with, right? That's compatible with physicalism. What the issue is supposed to be is that on inferential views of meaning, where I infer what I mean from my mental states rather than having transparent access to them, entails that I don't know what they are. But using that exact same inferential move, that means we have to throw out induction in the sciences as well. And almost nobody's willing to do that. Maybe you'll be a sophist and you'll say, for the sake of the debate, that you're not sure if we should use induction. I'm not really sure what your view on that is. On being dishonest, that is. I'm sure I know what your view on induction is, which is that we should use it.
I don't have a view yet. I think we all use induction sometimes, but I think induction has, I guess.
So you're not sure if the deliverances of all of our scientific disciplines are just fake news or not. You're open to the idea that all of physics is wrong, all of chemistry, all of biology, and everything.
Well, I don't know, right? Because I'm pretty sure.
So you're unsure. You're unsure about the status of all scientific knowledge. Got it. That's fine. We can set that aside as maybe another.
I think scientific knowledge has a limit, right? I don't believe science can explain everything.
You don't understand, though. The rule following argument is that we don't mean anything, right? You understand that the gap is that we can't mean anything, right? If you say, well, it just entails that there's a limit to it, well, then fuck it, I'm fine with that. Physicalism entails that there's a limit on what we can mean, right? Fine, I'd be fine with that. If the status of semantic meaning is going to be the same as the status of inductive knowledge in the sciences, I could not be happier. I actually think it's worse off. I actually think that we're worse at determining semantic meaning than our sciences are. But if you're willing to grant them the same status, then I'm Gucci.
I mean, for the sake of this conversation, I'll just.
Let me ask you one other question, Yuri, and then I'll return the cross-examination back to you. How is it that you think we determine another agent's meaning?
I don't think we can.
What?
Or are you talking about intentional state?
If I say the cat is on the mat, do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, because you're using some sort of. No, I probably shouldn't use that word because that may sound stupid. But yeah, you're using language in order to communicate.
Well, I know that. Okay. So you do know it. How do you know it? In virtue of what do you know it?
Oh, because we have an agreed upon understanding of language.
How do you know that we have agreed upon standard of language? The rule following argument states that whatever feedback you get from me is compatible with an infinite number of rules.
Baseless as the cat is on the.
Do you understand the rule following argument, Yuri?
I thought I did.
Look, the rule following argument states and shows one thing, okay? One very important thing. That meaning cannot be, this is Wittgenstein's initial argument, right? This is why he turns his back on essentially academic philosophy, okay? Because philosophers assume that all meaning is propositional, that meaning is like a picture, that there's a representation in your mind with little bits that reach out to the world and are determined by particular facts of the world, and you can package those up nicely into a sentence where all the parts refer to things, and you can point to the way things are in the world, and you can relay that meaning to other people. This is what he calls the picture theory of language. As a defeater, he offers this rule-following argument in the Philosophical Investigations. And the point of the rule-following argument is to say, this can't be how language works. This can't be how language works because any observed, agreed upon definition is going to be subject to mass underdetermination. There's no way that I can tell you that the cat is on the mat and rule out all the other possibilities of what it could possibly mean. There's no rule that can determine it, and there's no behavior. Even if I mean something, right? Even if I mean something very specific, which is there's this physical object cat that's sitting on this particular mat, I could never, ever relay that information to you in such a way that you can know for sure that I mean that and not something else, like undetached cat part sitting on the spiritual mat rather than the physical mat. And there's an infinite number of scenarios. So Wittgenstein said, that can't be what language is. That's what the rule following argument is. So when you say, I know that you mean the cat is on the mat because we have an agreed upon linguistic standard, you can't mean that that defeats the rule following argument, right? You just can't, because agreeing upon a linguistic standard is impossible on the rule following argument.
Right.
Now,
Okay,
now I can tell you what Bill Grommy thinks meaning is, right? He thinks.
Hey, actually, real quick, can you send me like some stuff on that Wittgenstein?
Just it's in the Philosophical Investigations.
What's that?
It's his famous book.
Oh, okay.
Philosophical Investigations, by the way, is the subject matter of Saul Kripke's very famous book on the private language argument in like 1983, which is where Bilgrami gets his argument. He gets it from Kripke. Kripke wrote a commentary on Wittgenstein's investigations. Now, what Bilgrami thinks is, well, we're fucked. But if we want to save the old-fashioned philosophical picture, what we need a special faculty by which we can directly observe other people's intentions. Intentions are the only way to determine a rule. So understand what he's saying, Yuri, is that we have a special non-material faculty, like a sixth sense, where we directly perceive somebody else's intentional states. Do you think that you have that, Yuri? Do you have that particular spiritual capacity to directly perceive somebody else's intentional states? Not see it with your eyes, right? Not feel it with your hands, not smell it with your nose. But you need to directly perceive somebody else's intentional states.
Are
Do
you
you think
talking
you have that
about-
capacity?
Just for clarification, you're talking about like an intuition, or you're talking about something
No.
else?
No.
I don't think I can speak on that.
I'm not sure what you mean by see. Do you mean just like perceive?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone could just perceive outside of just I have an
Yeah.
intuition that you mean X.
Yeah, I don't think I can answer that competently at the moment.
Is JHC a physicalist or a non-physicalist now?
She's a physicalist.
I messed up. I was asking if you've changed his mind.
No.
Not yet, you mean?
Oh, I think it's just easy to agree that words only have the meaning that we intend for them to have, and there's no way for anyone to really fully understand intentions other than just having a. We just give like a good guess at intentions, and then we say, "Am I wrong?" Or if we're being honest, we say, "Am I wrong?" And then the person corrects us if we're wrong, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
JC, I don't think I have any more.
Yeah, so so what Wittgenstein's view is that we give up. Son, I swear to God, I'm going to mute you.
Oh, sorry.
What Wittgenstein's view and Kripke's view, because remember, Kripke invents this argument that Bilgrami uses. I'm not intending this to shit on Bilgrami, by the way. It's actually a very persuasive argument. It's very strong in it. Causes me significant philosophical anxiety. But what Wittgenstein and Kripke, the people who invent and then popularize this argument, actually suggest is the opposite of what Bilgrami suggests. What they suggest is that this argument demolishes the high and mighty view that meaning is somehow extra magical special, latching onto abstract objects in the universe and tying them together into a proposition and delivering them seamlessly to other speakers. Instead, what they offer is that meaning can't be private, that meaning is inherently public, it's informed by the community, and you receive feedback from a community of speakers. So when Tasteless says something like, yeah, you can be wrong about knowledge, and it's fine to say, I knew that my girlfriend was in the other room, but she wasn't, and that hits our ears wrong, we're providing feedback to Tasteless, and you can see the process where he's essentially maligned and he becomes like an untrustworthy. We've all marked in our brains, right, that Tasteless is a dork and he has no idea what he's talking about, and he's a rabble rouser. But for the rest of us, it's useful to get feedback from our community of speakers, and we make mental notes of it, and we say, okay. And it's a trial and error process that starts when we're kids. We feel our way through language, we bump into oddities, and we update our little internal rule set, and we hope that we're tracking with what other people mean. But eventually, we have to say, we're not going to be able to answer the ultimate skeptical concern that we could all be operating under our own rule set, even if they're producing consistent behavior. That's called the skeptical solution to the rule following argument, which Kripke names after David Hume. He's got a chapter in the inquiry called The Skeptical Solution to the Problem of Induction. It's like section 5 or whatever.
How can you just lie to us like that?
Don't you ever call me a liar again, Justin Seed?
There's no such
Yeah,
thing as
okay.
a David Hume.